I would like to, it is now 5:03. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Simon Fairfield Public Library Trustees monthly meeting on April 26th, 2022. We have a quorum. Everyone has received the minutes. Hopefully I've had a chance to go over them. I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as written.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Open to discussion. Are there any additions, corrections, etc.?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the March meeting, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay. Hearing none, we can move on to the financial report.
Here are the numbers. Only thing different this month that will appear differently is the Moan Historical Books account has been closed out. We've spent the last of the money out of that on historical books, and so you won't be seeing this in the report anymore, since they're not donating on an annual basis any further.
Okay.
Oops.
I don't know if everybody knows that Cheryl is here.
Oh, hi, Cheryl. No.
Oh,
Hi.
hi, Cheryl. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
So should we start with that discussion about the investment? I don't know, Dana, what your timing was exactly, if you are tied up now or not.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a annual dinner. I have to go give an award here in a second. So
Okay.
Oh,
Well, it's the next thing
gosh.
on the agenda. It's right here.
Those pesky award dinners.
So is there anything you wanted to say on it before you had to go, Dana, or should we circle back? I don't know if you're coming back.
no, I really don't know if I'll be able to make it back.
Okay.
No, I mean I think the report was pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Brian and Cheryl were nice enough to sit down with us and kind of explain the two funding mechanisms and kind of where they differ. They are extremely similar. One includes about 20% stock equity, and that's really the main difference. There's some difference in the papers that they invest in, but they're pretty similar.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was very clearly written, so thank you.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it clarified a lot of things for me because I was a bit confused and apprehensive about things, so that really clarified things for me. Thank you.
Neither one of them are very risky pools that we have the funds invested in. Dana is correct that the MMDT isn't FDIC insured, but it is a state fund where your money is pooled with other municipalities and groups within the state and invested together. And he also pointed out that if you did decide to move it with Bartholomew, that you would piggyback our funds. So the rate of return would be based on the town's total amount in with Bartholomew. So if you added your funds, you would get a higher interest rate than what the yield is at MMDT.
Okay, but are we able to identify our funds and withdraw library
Yeah,
funds?
so your funds would they would be in their own separate account. It would be reported on the town's trust report, but you have your own line item, and you can withdraw your funds when you need to. So I keep about $100,000 cash within the portfolio that we have now. If for any reason, which would more than cover what you have in the account, if for any reason you knew it grew and you knew that you were going to withdraw it at a certain period of time, I just have to make them transfer funds so that we could cash out the money.
This is identical to where we have the RS Douglas account right now, which, the $10,000 that we can't touch is not by virtue of how it is invested here. It's by virtue of the trust documentation itself, which says we cannot expend it. But, the remainder of it is, accessible at any time. So this wouldn't be any different than the money that we already have invested.
Mhm. Okay. Other questions, comments? Everybody's so quiet.
Yeah. So,
And the only reason we haven't already done this, I think, is because we didn't think we could by virtue of state law.
Hmm.
Yeah, there was some confusion as to whether or not I could invest it in that fund. But I've spoken to several people, and Brian came out and explained that we could. So because the funds are yours, I'm just the custodian of them. So you have the ability to tell me how you would like them invested, so long as it's within the legal limits that are provided to me by law.
Okay.
What do we have to do if we want to do this? Do we have to have a?
But I think you just have to make a motion that you would like the funds transferred out of the current MMDT account that they're in, and ask the treasurer to put them in a sub account within the town's trust fund accounts held by Bartholomew. That would be entitled Simon Fairfield Interest Bearing Trust Account, if you built interest bearing building account.
So I would entertain a motion of what Cheryl said.
He's not going to have to go back and listen to this.
I know, Ellie,
I will. It's at the beginning of the meeting, so it's okay.
So do we have a motion?
I'll move that.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so if you just want, once your meeting minutes are complete, if you just want to send them over to me so that I have them for backup, and then I can go ahead, I'll transfer the money back into the town's now account at Unibank, and then I'll open up a new account for you at Bartholomew. Just if you want to change the name at all, just send me exactly how you want the account to read.
Okay.
Well, I have
Okay.
a question here. You said you're going to transfer what's in the MM account over to Bartholomew. What exactly is in that account now?
That was my question. Yeah.
Hang on 1 second, I gotta log in.
I might be faster.
Because we're talking about money that's not in any account, I think.
Well, it's the building donations with interest account. I've got $41,083.25.
It's in the MM account?
That is in the building donations with interest account, which is currently invested with MMDT.
yeah.
Okay, I made another deposit at the beginning of April, so April 4th, the balance was $41,039.45.
Yeah.
Me and Cheryl are always a little bit out of.
Bye, Dana.
Thanks, Dana.
Yeah,
Thank
bye-bye.
I'm
Um,
sorry, I didn't hear. Was somebody trying to ask a question or?
we were just saying goodbye to Dana.
He just said a chat that he
Oh,
had to
okay.
go.
Then the chat that he had to go.
Yeah, man, I was just explaining that, you know, my numbers and your numbers are always a little bit out of sync with each other.
Oh, okay.
So could we, or we have the Douglas money in there, so that's labeled as such. And then this
Yep.
we would do what we wanted to call this interest, the building interest bearing account. And I had asked Cheryl to check on, I was not sure about the money we get from the state, if that could be put in there, but apparently it can't. And Cheryl had the backup information on it, which sort of interests me, Cheryl, because it was Blackstone Library that was requesting if they could do it. And I remember Mike Kaczynski's wife was on the board of the Blackstone Library, and geez, you know, maybe Mike Kaczynski had somehow thought, well, you know, why did we used to do this, or, you know, and we don't do it anymore. But apparently it can't be done. And Cheryl checked with the legal people at the Department of Local Services. Yeah, and that they confirmed that no, we couldn't do anything with that. But there is there is a building fund too, isn't there, Justin?
That's a separate fund, $11,550 toward $4.83.
But that one, could we determine that we should put that one in the interest bearing account as well? I know we haven't.
Oh, I don't know.
I
didn't ask about that. If those are donations that were, what are those from, Justin? What are those funds from?
Those precede, so like before the interest-bearing building fund was established. Those are the building donations which we received before that.
So those are probably just on Jean's general ledger, that
Yeah, those are on
$11,000.
Jean's ledger as a building donation. It's account 28461076. So it's separate from our regular donations account. Of course, all the money that
You said 28461076. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, what exactly cannot be put in the Bartholomew account?
Well, the
state library funds that you get from the Commissioner Library,
Okay,
because it's
all
grant
right.
money, it goes
Yeah.
into the town's general revenue
Right,
account.
exactly. Okay. And that's it? Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, it's spent how you direct it to be spent.
Oh, I know,
whatever
but that's
the-
all as far as the restriction is for putting funds into the Bartholomew account. Is just what we get from the grant from the state.
Yeah, so usually what's in there is, and this is why I went with the way I had been told before, usually it's only trust funds. So if there's no trust document, usually you can't put funds in an account that is set up specifically for trust funds, like our
Yes,
stabilization
okay,
is
yes,
trust
yeah.
funded.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I got that. Okay. Do we have trust funds? I don't think we do. Do we?
Douglas, the Douglas account.
Yeah, the Douglas account is a trust fund.
Oh, okay. All right.
And we have something called the Library Trust Fund.
Yeah.
Which has only $1,600 in it, I think.
So
That was-
that, Ellie, that is still with the MMDT. That's what you're telling me, that's where the grant funds used to go, correct? Because nothing's been added to that since I've been
Right.
here.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. And I think
But
Sharon had
nobody
stuff
knows that except for me.
Hmm.
Well, now we
Not
know it.
more.
At least
I-
you've told us.
I'm doing
We
the
have to
minutes, you
remember
know.
that. Yeah,
Well, it just says trust fund, library trust fund. And that was because there was an accountant, it was way before Gene's time, that the town had, and he just decided to turn it all into a trust fund.
Yeah,
Okay.
on the account, it just says
Oh my
Simon Douglas.
goodness.
That's what it says.
Wow.
And it's 1649.91 is in there.
So if you don't know where that comes from, or maybe it's interest, you don't know that anything we did was illegal way back then. So, I mean, yeah, I know you're going to say no, but that's in the Mass Municipal Depository Trust, right?
Yep,
Right now?
it is.
Okay. So could
So do
we?
you want me to find out if we can close that out and put it in with the other one? Is that what you're asking?
I don't know. I don't want to ask it if everybody's against doing something like that, but it's such a little amount of money that,
From my standpoint, looking at a spreadsheet with all these different accounts on it, it would be lovely to clean it up. So if that could be wrapped, if once the building donations with interest is moved to Bartholomew, and if we could please change the name to like building investment fund or something like that, that would be awesome. And then if we could transfer those other trust funds into that, and even transfer the other building donations account into that, I mean, it would be turning 3 accounts into one.
So what would the total be on that?
41,000 plus 11,000 plus 1,600 roughly.
Okay.
It's 41.
And to what I'll probably do is I'll wait until the interest posts at the end of the month for this, and
So,
then I'll
like,
turn it
it
over
would-
like
I'm
May
thinking that-
1st.
Just roughing it out, like 54,000, kind of. 53,000.
yeah.
I'm just thinking in my head, rounding it up. Well, that's a fair amount of money. If we can do that.
It is, and it adds value to the town's investments too, doesn't it? Because the more we have lumped together, the more the funds earn, right?
Yeah. So you said it was over 11,000, Justin, right? I just put in 11,000. It's like 53,689.36. If we add all 3 together, I don't know what the exact figure was for the 11,000.
And then Justin, what were you calling it?
I don't know, building investment fund or
Library building
library building.
fund.
I mean, it could even just be library building fund.
Yeah. Yep. Investment
Okay.
sounds like, oh my God, my money could get lost.
I know, and that's what I know people were fearful of.
I can't take it out from under my mattress.
Yes, right.
So,
Or
How about
I think
renovation?
what Justin's trying to do is get it out of the mattress and into this.
exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. So the people who have it under their mattresses don't want to hear the word investment.
Yeah. So are we voting on this?
I'm totally open to that. It's on the floor.
Well,
But
yeah,
we,
it's been moved and seconded,
yes,
but, and do we want to add that we put these 3 funds in it?
yes, because we hadn't really brought that in, so. Yeah,
You're going to move the 3 current funds into the newly established library building fund account with Bartholomew.
yes. Are we ready for a vote?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye,
I,
opposed? All right, so moved. I don't have a gavel.
We need a gavel.
I don't have one. I
Just
can
like
bang, I
it
can bang
say-
a broken mouse.
Try that.
Great, all right. Thank you, Cheryl, for helping us out with all that.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so all I'll need is a copy of the meeting minutes and then the formal name that you want it under.
Do we have to wait till the following meeting so that the minutes are approved, or can you take them as soon as they're compiled?
That's a good question.
That's a
Technically,
good question.
yeah.
I think they have to be approved.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
well, we've only
So
been
you only
waiting
meet
for,
once a month.
yeah,
And you know, that gives me time to tell Jean too, that we're planning on rolling these other two accounts in and to catalog her objections.
Okay.
I would think it would make it easier for her.
You know, it would make things easier for everybody, but you know, the question is, you know, she just wants to make sure that it's something that
I understand. I know Jean well. I understand. She does a wonderful
due
job.
diligence incarnate.
Yes. Okay, are we
Okay, so
ready?
once you have the approved meeting minutes, if you get them over to me, like I said, with the formal name, and then Justin, I can get that open.
Alrighty, and I reckon that'll be
All
the
right.
day after our next trustee meeting.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you,
Thanks a
Cheryl.
lot,
Thank you,
Cheryl.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a
Cheryl.
good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Great.
Well, that's exciting.
That was a
Yeah.
good, that was a big
Thanks,
step.
Ellie, for starting that conversation.
Yeah, you know, in the beginning, I thought, well, how much money are we talking? And then I started, after Dana's report, doing a little math, and I was like, wow, that's a big difference.
Sorry about
Yeah, that too.
He
but
approves.
since we're not investing, we're putting it in the same fund that the town stabilization fund is in, I think we are on safe footing.
Yeah, yep,
It's very conservative and it's good.
yeah, sounds good.
And as far as a name, is Library Building Fund acceptable to everybody?
Works for me.
Yep.
Yep.
Is that the only reason we can get it out? Or could we get it out for something else?
For,
Could we call it renovation?
I
I think renovation would be even more restrictive than building.
Right,
but we'll
Possibly
always-
they won't care. If we just name it building fund, if we need new lamps, that'll probably be okay.
I mean, anything that qualifies as a building expense, and that's what we told people we were raising this money for too. So to take it out for anything else would kind of be a bad faith gesture. But I also think this should be, you know, like the very bottom of the barrel, since these are funds which we can retain and, you know, earn interest over.
oh,
time.
yeah, exactly.
You know, if there is, you know, like say this ARPA money materializes and, you know, we have money to spend on a building renovation, but we have to spend $50,000 on plans. You know,
Right.
if we avoid touching the building donations with interest, then, or the library building fund, then that would be great, because then it would still be there.
Right, yep. Good thinking, yep.
If we called it renovation fund, it might be more interpreted as, okay, this is specific.
Use it, yeah, yeah,
so you
yeah,
gotta
use it for the cracked sidewalk or something, yeah.
which the sidewalks are cracking again. And
No, I know. I don't want to open that can of worms right now.
it's not
We got other things to talk about. Not to worry right now. Okay. So are we okay to move on to the director's report?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So here's the circulation numbers for March. Digital circulation continues to be high. Book circulation is also, the highest it's been since 2019. And the big story of the month, though, is the fact that we're not open to the public right now, and we're all in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
Basement on Monday, yesterday, and the electricians came in to take out all the fixtures. The next step is the peoples who are supposed to come in and plastic up everything and set up the staging, and then the plasterers are going to come in and do their work. But that's another point in the agenda. Right now, we're continuing to circulate books out the back door because we can do that as long as patrons don't come in. The building inspector, the fire chief are cleared. The public should not be in here right now. We'll continue pulling items from our collections to satisfy local and system holds as long as we're able to. Right now, we can still get to most of the shelves except for the ones that lights are stacked up against, or ceiling fans and whatnot. We can still get to almost everything except the biographies, because that's where they piled all of the pictures and stuff. But there's no lights upstairs. So, we're not going to be doing any shelving or pulling now, but earlier in the day we were. And so as long as we have access to the shelves, we will continue to, put things away, pull things off. And another thing we did is on Monday, we removed the age-based holds protection on all of our new items. And we'll disable it on everything new that we process. What that does is, usually whenever we buy a book, it comes in, and for 4 weeks, it won't fill holds except for here in Douglas. If a Douglas patron places it on hold, they get it. But if a Douglas patron doesn't have it on hold, it just sits on the shelf. Right now, there's no point of anything just sitting on the shelf. So we're going to remove the holds protections and, send the things out for, to fill system needs in the meantime. And people can still place holds, and we're getting delivery, and we'll do our door delivery on Thursday and call people who disenrolled after the pandemic and see if they want to re-enroll for the duration of this. Rebecca's archive work will continue largely unaffected, with the exception of us all being down here in our personal space. She has appropriated the page, Anastasia, and she is now working with a flatbed scanner to make a digital copy of A History of Places in Douglas by Lucius Marsh.
That's great. I really like that.
We have only one bound copy of, which is falling to pieces and you can't read. And we had another copy that was transcribed from that in a small spiral bound. So we've taken that apart, and we're going to scan it and then put it back together.
Wow.
Most of the programming, we've been able to move to town hall resource room, with the exception of the adult book clubs, because those all happen at night when, people are using those rooms for meetings. And one music and movement, which if we're not open 2 Tuesdays from now, again, we'll try to have it on the town common in the gazebo. I'm going on vacation from May 13th through 30th. I hope the project is going to be finished by then, but if not, Adam Furno will take over as the point person for the contractors, and the staff can move operations back upstairs. No problem, I think. It's the last couple of days have been kind of an exercise in what do we need to move downstairs that's also worth having to take back upstairs once this is
Right.
so we'll kind of learn what is expendable.
Yeah.
And other
It's a great, I've done a lot of that this past year.
Run, I think, because once the meeting's concluded, I should just walk you around and give you a tour of how we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
In theory, if we ever did get an elevator tacked onto the back and renovated in a certain way, this could be a little bit more reminiscent of what the library of the future would be like.
Mm.
Anyway, it's a chance to just play with configurations. Town meeting is Monday at 7. And I did notice at the FinCom public hearing that Matt added $2,000 to our personnel line. He feels that the projection that I asked for doesn't provide enough margin of error for emergencies. And, his opinion is that, personnel money can't be transferred to operations. It turns into free cash at the end of the fiscal year. So having the extra 2,000 is not a bad idea. I actually leaned over to him in the FinCom meeting and was like, thanks for the extra $2,000. And he's like, you suck at numbers, trust me. So it's there.
Oh, I love it.
And that's the end of my director's report.
All right, we ready? Moving on to old business. Building projects. This main floor ceiling schedule.
So best case scenario is 2 weeks. Worst case scenario is 4 weeks. If it finishes up before the end of week 3, I'll be able to facilitate the transition back upstairs. So I'm hoping for that. But a lot of it just comes down to between contractors getting in, because this contractor has subcontracted out to staging, plastic, and electrical separately. So like the electrical outlets have been removed, but now we have to wait for the people to come hang plastic, and then we have to wait for the people to come do staging. And then they'll come in and do their work. And then after the board is put up and plaster is put over it, it has to sit for 7 days and cure before it can be painted. And that's kind of the crux, is how quick can we get to having the actual plaster up so it's curing, because there will be a week where nothing is happening.
All right. How are we coming along with, I'm ready? What's that? With Gary Moyer's proposal on the handicapped access ramps.
I haven't heard from him. He said that he would send us sort of a menu of options within a couple months. I've poked him today because as of developments within the last week, it's become a little bit more urgent.
Yeah.
So we can talk about a new business, but I'm hoping that he'll give me a ping back within the next couple days.
Yeah.
Because all I'm asking is to know where he's at.
Yeah. I guess we'll wait to hear back from him then.
But I mean,
I'm sorry.
He was not a fan of ramps. People on the board don't seem to be a fan of ramps, if I'm reading the room right. And so I think at this point, we're just talking about handicap access.
I think we're interested in seeing what he has to propose, like a serious proposal with some numbers. Am I right?
Yeah, I poked him to find out where he's at in terms of the process of coming up with different ideas. And I mean, there's nothing to do now except for wait for him.
Okay. All right. Do we have any other building projects going on?
Well, two's enough.
Yeah. I'm not sure what sub number 3 other is under building. Are we okay with that?
No, it isn't. It's just that other building projects. That's all.
Okay, all right.
I don't know why B is in there. That probably was my fault.
Okay. No, where it goes B, other building
Right.
projects. And then we
Right.
have-
But you see 2 is
I
handicap
got other.
access, and 1 is main floor ceilings.
Oh, I see. I got it. All right. Okay. So are we good? Are we okay? Yeah. Okay. Under grants, capital campaign.
We're up around $300 from where we were last month.
Okay.
Moving
And
on
if
up.
we're able to consolidate these accounts, then this and this and this will all
Trustfund, yeah.
combine into one.
Hmm,
So all 5 of those can move, or is it?
No,
3
Oh,
of
there's
them,
three
the
of them.
top 2 and the bottom one, right?
Yeah,
It's
the
the
11,000,
11,000, 41,000, and
41,000
1,600.
IT building donations and the 1,600 in the trust fund.
Okay,
Because these middle two aren't actually their own accounts. They're just money that's been
the
voted
town.
in reserve.
Okay, I gotcha.
Okay, right, all right, understood. Now that I see that, okay. Excellent. So again, other grants. LRP updates.
Continuing professional development, we've gotten library journal subscriptions sorted out. Staff are reading it. And also just thinking about, one of the things in our long range plan was to take advantage of incremental improvements to the building when the opportunity comes along. And we've come a long way in the past decade or half decade when you think about it. Because we've got updated climate control, we've got, the new building envelope, which
Mhm.
increases our, insulation. We're getting new ceilings now. And, going back a little bit before, we've got new carpet, we've got a parking lot.
Yeah.
We've made some steps forward.
Yeah, definitely have.
I think the library has made leaps and bounds. And I think another piece of it too, that's hard to, put a number on is the support of the community. I think that's grown. I think especially since the pandemic.
Mm.
Mhm.
So I think I'm proud to say I'm involved with this little town and little library.
Right.
Yeah, I like it. All right, moving on to friends.
yeah, we're having our annual meeting this Saturday. My goodness, I better get going here. At 10 it's a Zoom meeting. And you've posted the Zoom hitch up for that,
Mhm, yeah,
Justin?
Everyone should
Yeah,
have gotten it
okay.
in a newsletter, and it's on Facebook and it's on the website.
Okay, good. Thank you. We also, Carolyn Dorval, our president of the Friends, and I have been sorting the donations last week, basically, and managed to get most of it organized. So we're happy. And this is for the book sale that we'll be having Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. And it will be from 9 till noon. And we're also having a plant sale at that time too. So any of you that have extra plants hanging around,
okay.
yeah, please. Unfortunately, Christian Stevens is going to be at her granddaughter's wedding. My goodness, I have 2 daughters and neither of them are married, so I can't imagine, dealing with a granddaughter like that. So she can't. She won't be there, but she'll be setting up on Friday, I think, beforehand. So if you just leave plants behind the library before or by Friday, she'll get them there, or anytime that week beforehand.
So is it the 28th of May, Ellie, that's Saturday before Memorial Day?
If that's what the date is,
Yeah.
Right? April, right?
no, it's
No, May. April 30th.
You're right. Never mind.
April
Yeah,
28th.
that's the annual meeting.
So April 28th is, May 28th is the book sale.
Don't get us confused.
I know. And then we sort of have a rest period for a month or two, and then we start planning on the auction.
Yeah.
I was just
I
reading
must,
there's a Memorial Day event down at the gazebo, starting at the gazebo on the 28th at 10 a.m. But that's good because then you'll have the, people that are attending that, they'll probably be going by or be out anyway.
Yeah, and hopefully, I guess I don't have to check on it now, but I did put in a posting at the fire station. So if everybody's going to go up to the gazebo, then they'll see that sign saying book
Yeah.
the plant sale down at the library. But yeah, I was reading on Dynamic Douglas or somewhere, people were saying, when's the parade? And, and some people said, oh, it's Monday. And then Carol Manning said, no, I'm the coordinator of this at the school. And today, I guess she put up that they're only going to be visiting the memorial posts that they usually march to in a parade, but they're just going to skip the parade part, but just have that. And I guess I did that last year.
Oh,
On another note from friends, my birthday was January 3rd, and I put in on Facebook that I'll take donations if anybody wants to give them in my honor to the Friends of the Library for the building. And I was surprised because I had sort of a goal of 200 and my daughters each gave $15. And then one of them said, oh, I'm going to bring it up to $200, Mom. And she gave another $10. And I was so excited. And then other people started giving, and I think we raised between $300 or $400.
Oh my
One
goodness,
was my
my
nephew who lives in England, and he gave 40 pounds. So there's a weird amount of
Great.
money
Well,
in there too.
wow.
It was mostly relatives. So there was, I think Ramona.
I did one of those for my birthday and I got like $20.
Yeah, I think I did it the year before and I didn't get anything, but this year I was really surprised. So,
That's a good sign for the
yeah. So if
library,
any of
for
you have that want to donate stuff to the Friends this way, it really did work, and we got the money from Facebook. So I think.
Yeah, I
it's
think
exciting.
that goes directly to whatever. Yeah, that's
So,
awesome. Very good.
Did you
so
get it in like
that's my friend's
the
report.
mail or wasn't it
All
like?
right, thank you.
Because I've been keeping an eye out for it.
What, the money?
Yep.
Yeah, no, it came in a check. I told you that.
Okay. I don't.
There were
remember.
2 checks. The first one was $75, and then there was one for $300 odd that came afterwards. So, and I gave you a check for it already. So you've deposited it in the building interest-bearing account.
Excellent. Very good. Any other old business? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business.
The plant sale, it's on the 28th. And what are the times for it?
9 till noon.
9 to noon. I need to go ahead and make like a sign and get word out.
Yeah, as I say, I put one up I've requested one for the fire station, and I'm just going to remind them a week beforehand because sometimes they forget. It's not the fire station that forgets, it's the selectman's office that forgets. So.
I'll make a Facebook event.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was asking about. Because like the Douglas Orchard has these Facebook event things. So why not?
Right.
I don't know if they're worth doing or not, but might be good. So yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Make a nice graphic, because that's what you were telling me you needed, was a graphic. So good.
Okay. All righty. Back to new business. My glasses aren't working right. ARPA funding.
So last week, the federal government significantly um, loosened the restrictions on what communities can spend their American Rescue Plan Act funds on. And there is a big opportunity here because Douglas has $2.7 million of federal money now, which the selectmen can do with whatever they please, pretty much. Matt is advocating strongly for some of it to be used for personnel who worked in hazardous conditions during the height of the pandemic between March and June of 2020. But the rest of it is just kind of there. And the guidance has been to use it for infrastructure improvements, and with a focus on increasing, like water sewer efficiency, increasing building, efficiency, that kind of stuff, and working to increase communities' access to broadband internet. And then other things kind of built in, it's like, these are funds that were designed to help communities respond to the COVID disaster, and to recover from it. And, the response is kind of done. Now we're in the recovery phase. Douglas is in an especially good situation, kind of because of the savviness of our town government, because a lot, the first funds that opened up to help communities cope with the pandemic was FEMA money. And then ARPA came along not long after, but a lot of towns used the ARPA money first because it was easier. Whereas the FEMA money required jumping through hoops, paperwork, all that extra stuff. But, Matt made sure that we did all that extra stuff and used the FEMA funds instead of the ARPA funds. So Douglas still has the ARPA funds.
Okay.
So the selectmen at their last meeting voted to basically accept them, and they are going to send out requests for proposals from boards and departments on, how to use it. And this seems to me like a very good opportunity to try to fund, what we've been trying to fund for forever.
Absolutely.
So I don't know where it's going to go yet, but, I'm keeping my eye on it. I would like to send an email to the Board of Selectmen now, just to kind of prime them, get them thinking about, the fact that, hey, the library was here during the pandemic. We were helping people, have access to
Oh my goodness, yes.
DVDs, educational materials. We shut down our
Not,
building.
you know what, not to mention, you were doing well-being checks. You were checking
Yeah,
on
our
people that,
staff was involved in the disaster recovery.
right, exactly.
Coping with the post, pandemic world where lots of work is moved remote, we're now circulating the Wi-Fi hotspots. This is kind of has library written all over it. This is what we're here for, is
I
community
absolutely
support,
agree.
community recovery, and helping people develop the digital literacy skills and, just the normative literacy skills they need to navigate life, and, make the community a better, stronger place. So, if we can get a chunk of this money, when I took the Van Hooris plans and, calculated that estimate out for inflation, it was $2.7 million. It's almost like, an alignment of the stars, and we have at this point, we've got $126,000, $783.70. We've got more money in grants that we could allocate if necessary to, see something, across the finish line if there's a lack. My only concern is if this materializes, it'll have to move quickly, because I think the
Right,
funds have to be expended in 3 to 4 years. So if it's something that they're amenable to, we don't really have time to wait for Gary Moyer to work on this as convenient.
No, absolutely. So so Justin, do you need the board to vote on approving this, or can you just move forward on it?
I don't think there's anything to vote on approving yet.
Okay.
Other than, if it's something, if you don't
Do you
want.
think there's gonna be like an RFP that comes out?
I mean,
From the
again, I don't-
selectmen?
it would have to go through, all of the processes, with the BFCC, the RFPs, and all that jazz, the same way that it would always. It's just that the funding doesn't have to be appropriated because there's 2.7
No,
million.
what I'm saying, so would it be the Board of Selectmen who issue the RFPs and that they're the ones who make the decision? How
So
would it
Danielle,
work?
I can partly answer that because I was at the last selectmen's meeting, and before it was sort of first come, first serve, and then they realized there was not so many, well, they changed the rule that there were not so many restrictions on the money. So then they'll work with Justin and whatever other organizations in town who are eligible for this funds. So then the
Okay.
selectmen will, gather the information together and make a wise, financial decision based on the various proposals that are brought to them. I don't know
Okay.
what format the proposals will supposed to be. I assume, they'll be communicating that.
Yeah,
But the selectmen have the final decision.
okay, that's okay. I was just
Yeah.
curious.
I'm not,
But the
I don't want to
process is
assume
gonna
that
be-
they'll communicate that. I want to
Sure.
pounce before they even do.
I didn't hear that.
I said, I don't want to assume that they'll communicate it. I want to pounce on the opportunity before. they-
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Don't wait.
I want to email them.
And what they also said was the funds have to be used by 2024, like 4 years from when they were allotted.
Mhm.
And or I think that I don't know if they have to be completely finished, but the proposal for what we're using it for by then. And throughout the month of June and July probably is when a lot of this conversation will happen at the selectmen's meetings.
Yeah.
So it's soon, but not tomorrow.
So, I mean, they would not be putting out the RFP, working with an architect and all that jazz, but they would be basically allotting the money, saying you either have it or you don't.
Okay, no, what I was asking, I wasn't sure what the process was, or I didn't realize you were already at the point where you were talking with them about funding the library project.
Well, I haven't yet. I wanted to talk to y'all.
Oh, okay, okay. All right,
But I have a feeling, I mean, I know there's a lot of things in town that need to be done. One is the air circulation at the fire department is bad. So they want to redo that whole thing. So there are a lot of proposals around for stuff like this. And so it's good to move forward, but I'd almost concentrate on things like putting out more of those hotspot computers or whatever they're called, not in the ones that you lend out to people, but just making, or as you had mentioned earlier, that the way we live because of the pandemic is changed drastically over the last few years, and
I
that
agree, yeah.
maybe attack that, not building issues, but because I don't know that we would have I don't know I don't know anything.
We could put in two.
That's where I would concentrate on. I would do more pandemic type of stuff that is going to help the community.
Yeah, I wonder if it can be a combination too. Say it's like 100,000 towards the building and then, a similar amount towards library programs. I'm just supposing that. I think it's a little different than others where it's a little looser, it seems, where
Right,
have to have all the money
that's what
together.
I'm thinking. But, another point to be made is that, all right, all of the outreach and the support that Justin and the staff at the library provided during this crucial time wasn't going to work if they didn't have a solid home base. They can't be working out of a place with a leaky roof or a ceiling that's falling down or, stairs that people can't get up, a bathroom people can't use. You could go on and on. Programming that's happening in the basement that's not, in a room that's basically, is a multi-purpose room. I think that the base that you work with is important too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I personally can't see a better way to use at least a portion of that money.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
So Justin, will you let us know what, as the process goes through? You'll send us
Yeah,
little
I'm
updates?
watching it like a hawk. And I will email them sooner rather than later, just to remind them, that we definitely kind of want in.
Okay.
Copy us on that.
Actually, I'll send you all an email first. I will send
Okay.
you all.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah. I'm almost getting excited. You afraid,
Yeah, I know.
I'm kind of getting.
I'm trying to go, oh.
It's not very often that you have, this much of a lump of money at one time. And it seems like a very good opportunity that I think we would be remiss not to take seriously and put in an application for.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Have to. Okay. I'm not seeing other new business on the agenda. I'll put it out there. Well, hearing none. Next meeting is May 24th at 5 p.m.
I will be in Arkansas, so I won't have a whole lot to contribute.
Okay, we'll work on that as we get closer to the date.
When do you leave? Maybe we could have it a week early and then get it. What?
I'm leaving on, hold on, I wrote it up here.
The
13th, you said.
Leaving on the 13th, and I'll be back on the 30th. So the 31st, I have Sci-Fi Book Club. That's not until 6.
Do you want to go to the Wednesday or the June 1st?
Or Tuesday, you can't do it because of sci-fi. Okay.
We're reading The Last Unicorn.
Ooh.
So June 1st. Do you want to have it on June 1st? Can we have it on June 1st?
Works for me.
That's fine.
Okay. It's my grandmother's birthday. She would have been 130 something.
The oldest woman died today, 119.
I saw that. Yeah.
That's old.
Yeah, from Japan.
Wow. I wonder what she ate.
Got promoted.
Doing multiple
Oldest
things
woman.
at once.
All right, so we're going to say June 1st.
Yeah, so that's Wednesday
Okay.
at 5. Remote.
As far as I know, that should be fine.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
I'll hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
All
Hi.
right.